win another series, this time winning 2 out of 3 against the Cleveland Guardians. They do fail to get the sweep. However, the Yankees continue to win, and they are now 58-22, and they won both games of the Saturday doubleheader. There was the Friday rainout, which leads to the Yankees really winning in very convincing fashion against Cleveland. And they finished the season 5-1 versus the Guardians. They swept the Yankee Stadium series, and they take 2 out of 3 at Cleveland. And you'll take it. The offense really, shut down in that third game, and the lineup was a little bit subpar. No Judge, no LeMahieu. But like I said, you take it. I do think that the Yankees, like I said, in order for them to improve, I think the lineup is where you're looking at. I really do trust this pitching. And like I said, you can always use that depth. You can never have enough pitching. But I really think that the lineup needs some tweaking. Like, if we really want to go through it, Joey Gallo, that's beyond repair. Aaron Hicks, I'm going to feel about Aaron Hicks how I'm going to feel about Aaron Hicks. And look, to be fair, he had a very good first game in the series. But I don't think that that's someone that if you really want to win a championship, I see him more as a fourth outfielder. Just me personally. Josh Donaldson, been a disappointment halfway through the season. And Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is another guy who, he'd be a very good bench player. Very good bench player. But he's purely a stopgap shortstop. Defensively, it's shaky. He can make some very good plays, but the routine ones, he doesn't make them enough. And then offensively for Kiner-Falefa, I don't know. It's just, I'm seeing too many ground outs to short. The point being is that I take it as a good thing, because I think that Cashman knows this. There's a month until the trade deadline, and I think that improvements can be made to further strengthen this team. Because that's the amazing thing. They're 58-22, and really, about 3 or so spots in that lineup could seriously be improved. Now, let's be honest for a second. The Donaldson spot, that he's not really going anywhere. Could he sit every now and then come playoff time? I suppose. But I'm not expecting that. But I think the other spots, you never know. Honestly. Whether that be, in Kiner-Falefa's case, internal, if they really trust Oswald Peraza, they probably don't. But either way, I think that trades could be made to certainly beef up the outfield. And so we'll see what happens. But with that all being said, the Yankees really, really did a very good job in that doubleheader. They win the first game 13-4. It's 2 more comeback victories, as the Yankees did trail 2-0 early in game 1, and they did trail 1-0 in game 2. So I think that's now 26 comeback wins. That could be a bit misleading, but still. And the first game saw really, each lineup of the series saw some craziness. So I'm not even going to get into the whole rest roulette thing, because once the doubleheader happened, all the lineups had a lot of key players out. So in game 1, it should be noted, Miguel Andujar was the 27th man for this doubleheader, and so he actually started both games. Did pretty well in game 1, not as well in game 2. He would be sent down after the game. Also, Aroldis Chapman was activated. That was a mess, and honestly, I think it's a good thing. He was really, 3 straight walks, no command whatsoever. I actually think it's a blessing in disguise that he did not do well. It didn't affect the result of the game. It was a blowout situation at that time. So he came back, and Ron Marinaccio is now. So Miguel Castro was placed on paternity leave. He should be back for the Pittsburgh Pirates series. And Ron Marinaccio pitched in this first game. He has right shoulder inflammation. Sounds like he'll be fine. Just a couple weeks of rest. He has been fantastic. So you definitely want him back in there. And this is the perfect time for him to be out. All-Star break's coming up in a little bit. So hopefully Marinaccio will be back and good to go, because he has proven that he is a major league reliever. Absolutely. And they called up J.P. Sears, who pitched 2 2/3 in the third game of this series. So Ryan Weber actually stays on this roster. It seemed like he would go down. It seemed like he would, be off the roster. But between Castro going on paternity list and then Marinaccio getting hurt, Weber continues to stay on the roster. But that's just more housekeeping more than anything. Yankees offense really erupted in this game. Garrett Cole gets into some early trouble, but really settled down. Pretty good outing for Cole. He gives up 2 runs in 6 innings. And Cole gives up back-to-back homers in the bottom of the second. Josh Naylor and Franmil Reyes. And Franmil Reyes was really, honestly, the star of the Cleveland Indians series. He really, he was basically responsible for, on the offensive side for the one Cleveland win. So Cleveland takes that 2-0 lead. But in the third, DJ LeMahieu, who has really looked good at the plate. I like how DJ's been looking. And I was critical of him. DJ back in the good graces. He is hitting the ball hard, hitting the ball in the air, and DJ hits his 8th home run to cut the lead to 2-1. But the Yankees would continue on in the third, and they wouldn't look back. Back-to-back walks by Judge and Torres. Giancarlo strikes out. This was a rough game for Giancarlo Stanton. It was, but he would make up for it in game 2. But Miguel Andujar gets an RBI single to tie it up at 2, and then Aaron Hicks gets a 2-run single to give the Yanks a 4-2 lead. So a couple of big hits by Andujar and Hicks, and Cole did a really nice job, kept it a 4-2 game, and in the 6th, the Yankees would basically break it open. Kirk McCarty was the starter for the Indians. The lefty did not really do all that well. Pitches 5 innings, gives up 4 runs. And then the Yankees against Anthony Gose. He used to be a position player, actually, most notably with the Detroit Tigers. But Anthony Gose would come on, and Matt Carpenter. You got to give Matt Carpenter credit. He doesn't play a whole lot, but when he does, he's really good. And Carpenter hits off the lefty a 2-run homer to give the Yanks a 6-2 lead. And then later in the inning, Ghost gets into some trouble. It eventually is a second and third 2-out situation. They bring in the right-hander Anthony Castro, and Gleyber Torres, who had a really good game, gets a 2-run single to extend the Yankee lead to 8-2. Cole goes 6 innings, and it was a good job by Cole, like I said, after those back-to-back home runs. At 8-2 in the top of the 7th, you get an RBI single by Matt Carpenter, and a double play by Jose Trevino that scores a run. And so the Yankees take a 10-2 lead. Chapman comes on in the 7th. He walks Jimenez, Palacios, and Sandy Leon. He's out of the game, and Marinaccio does a good job. He gets a couple of groundouts and a flyout. So 2-run score. Those are Chapman's runs, and so it's a 10-4 game. Then in the 8th, you get a couple of guys on. It's a second and third situation, and Gleyber Torres reaches on a fielder's choice, and on this play, DJ LeMahieu scores, and so that makes it 11-4 Yankees. In the 8th, Lucas Licky comes on, pitches a scoreless 8th inning, and then in the 9th inning, a position player is on for the Guardians. Ernie Clement has to pitch for Cleveland, and therefore Matt Carpenter hits his 2nd home run of the game, his 8th of the season, and Jose Trevino homers after him. Gives the Yanks a 13-4 lead. Ryan Weber comes on and pitches a 1-2-3-8, and the Yankees win Game 1, 13-4. Game 2, a little less scoring, a little more pitching, and Nestor Cortez, who had been kind of struggling a little bit lately, does a really nice job and goes 6 innings and gives up 1 run. It was 1 solo home run to Ahmed Rosario, who had a pretty good series, I thought, Ahmed Rosario, as compared to others at least. Even going back to his Mets days, it feels like Rosario's given the Yankees some problems. But Aaron Savale, who has struggled this year for Cleveland, pitched okay. The final line isn't very good, but he kind of hung in there, and I guess he kind of ran out of gas a little bit towards the end. But, Cortez versus Savale, and like I said, Cleveland jumps out to that early lead. It would be Ahmed Rosario with a solo homer to give Cleveland a 1-0 lead. In the 4th, though, the Yankees would get it done. And it was thanks to an Anthony Rizzo solo shot, his 22nd homer of the year. Rizzo continues to really do well. And then Giancarlo Stanton, he hits his 20th homer of the year. Back-to-back home runs for Rizzo and Stanton. A lot of back-to-back home runs when you think about it. It happened twice in the first game, and then it happens right there in Game 2. And so that makes it 2-1. And The Yankees would keep that 2-1 lead. Like I said, Cortez goes 6, and then in the 7th, the Yankees break it open. You get a Rizzo single, a Stanton single, Savale's out. Cleveland brings in De Los Santos, and you get an RBI double by Josh Donaldson. Eventually, Donaldson would score on a throwing error by De Los Santos on a pickoff attempt, and then an RBI single by Connor Falefa makes it 5-1. And a sac fly by Higashioka makes it 6-1. Then Michael King comes on and pitches a scoreless 7th and 8th. Then the 9th inning, Wandy Peralta gets in a little bit of trouble. It was a lot of soft hits. It wasn't like he got hit around. But what happens is it ends up being bases loaded, 2 out. Clay Holmes comes on, and in 2 pitches, Stephen Kwan grounds out. And so Holmes picks up the save, gives the Yankees a 6-1 win, and the Yankees sweep that doubleheader. So we head into Game 3, and at this point, the Yanks have won all 5 games against Cleveland. You figure that Cleveland's a pretty solid team. Cleveland, with this win, is 40-36 in the season. You knew sweeping them would not be easy, and they don't get it done. The Yankee offense held down completely to 1 hit. It's a 1-hitter, and Tristan McKenzie pitched very well for Cleveland. McKenzie's a good pitcher. And he, like I said, 1 hit, 7 innings, got 7 strikeouts, only 1 walk. He really held the Yanks down. Like I said, a bit of a weak lineup for the Yankees. Again, with no Judge, you kind of feel that a little bit. And no DJ at the top of the order. So, and Jordan Montgomery, you feel bad for him. Montgomery, his record drops to 3-2. He has a 3.19 ERA, and he's 3-2. So a lot of no decisions. Crazy, he only has 3 wins. And he goes 5 innings. He doesn't go deep, but he only gives up 1 run. And so in this one, for the Yankees, not a whole lot of opportunities to get things done offensively. In the 4th would be one of their better chances. 1st and 2nd, 1 out, and Gleyber Torres grounds out to the pitcher. They get the run around at 2nd, and then Jose Trevino grounds out, so you get no opportunity there. And then Cleveland homers. Franmil Reyes homers again. It's the 6th of the season. It just got out in left field. So that gives Cleveland a 1-0 lead, and that would be all they would need. They would score 1 run later in the game. But in the 6th was one of the Yankees' better chances. Marlon Gonzalez is hit by a pitch. Then Anthony Rizzo pops out. Stanton strikes out. Marwin's still second. And Josh Donaldson strikes out. So Donaldson, swings at a bad pitch. It's funny. Donaldson got the Yankee 1 hit. It just feels there's just not enough from Donaldson. It feels like there's a lot of 1-hit performances. There's a consistency there, although the batting average is bad. So you do have your games where he gets no hits, but where I'm waiting for that big Donaldson game or stretch, it's just not happening. And so he strikes out in what was a pretty big spot. Then let's go to the 8th, and in the 8th. Is where things get a little bit interesting strategy-wise. Eli Morgan replaces McKenzie. LeMahieu pitches for Connor Falefa. It makes sense. LeMahieu flies out. Then Joey Gallo hits for himself. That's just tough. Joey Gallo has been so bad. You had Judge on the bench who eventually did come in the 9th, and that might not have even happened. Luckily, the Yankees got it far enough where Judge came in, so you almost just basically didn't use Judge, which, I'm sorry, that's kind of unacceptable. So Gallo hits for himself, and he strikes out. So Joey Gallo batting 165. He did break his hitless drought. He did get a hit in Game 2 of this series, but Gallo, you can't have that. And then Matt Carpenter pinch hits for Marlon Gonzalez and strikes out. So Eli Morgan gets the job done. Then at the bottom of the 8th, things get a little bit interesting, and the defensive alignments change with all those pinch hitters. Gleyber moves to short. Most notably, Gleyber moves to short, and Matt Carpenter is in right field for the first time since 2014, but Gleyber Torres cannot play shortstop. Look, at second base, it's fine. You can really live with Gleyber at second. At shortstop, absolutely not. So Cleveland gets a really good opportunity, and eventually they do convert, but it took them some time. 1st and 3rd, no out, and Arias hits a ground ball to LeMahieu. LeMahieu does a pretty good job of running down Stephen Kwan. LeMahieu throws home, Trevino tags him out, and then Trevino gets Arias down in a rundown, and Rizzo tags Arias out. So a very unconventional double play. A good job, mainly by Trevino, but LeMahieu starts it out. And so you're thinking, okay, runner on second, J.P. Sears, who had pitched 2 2/3, now out of the game, and Albert Abreu comes on. And unfortunately, Franmil Reyes gets a pretty big RBI single off of Abreu to give Cleveland a 2-0 lead. The next batter, Gleyber Torres, it's a throwing error. Again, Gleyber can't play short, but the Yankees would get out of the rest of the innings, so it's 2-0 going to the ninth. Emmanuel Clase, who's a really good closer, is on for Cleveland. Now, I will say this. The Yankees came through against Clase at Yankee Stadium, if you remember. That was when Isaiah Kiner-Falefa had that really big game-tying hit, really one strike away from losing in the ninth. Clase gets into a little bit of trouble here. 4-pitch walk to Rizzo. Then Stanton reaches on a miscatch error by first baseman Owen Miller. Really bad job by Miller. And so it's first and second. And now Donaldson's up. And he didn't strike out, but Donaldson flies out. And that's where Donaldson needs to come through. He doesn't. And so, 1 out. Gleyber Torres then, it's an 0-2 count, and Torres on a high pitch, they call it strike 3. Look, if it's called the ball, it's 1-2. Gleyber may ultimately not come through, but it's tough. That was a bad call by the ump. And so now it's first and second, 2 out. Aaron Judge does pinch hit for Trevino, and he walks. And for me as Yankee fan, I'm thinking, all right, good that the game continues, but I knew that walk wouldn't be great because it leads to Aaron Hicks being up, and Aaron Hicks, bases loaded, 2 out, 2-0 game, grounds out to second to end it. And Cleveland does salvages the season series, and so the Yankees fail to get the sweep, but they win the series. They are now 58-22 with a very comfortable lead in the AL East. But I will say this, the Houston Astros are 5 games out on the loss column to the Yanks. And the Yankees have that big doubleheader with the Astros in a couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens then. But that's kind of what, from a standing standpoint, you're looking at that. Because the Yankees right now are comfortably ahead in the AL East. It's a long season, but that's where they're at. And so now the Yankees have a day off, and then they will have 2 games at the Pirates. And it will see Jameson Taillon pitch against his former team for the very first time. So that will be very interesting to see Taillon back in Pittsburgh. I would expect him to get a good reception. And so I'm curious to see how Taillon does back in Pittsburgh. And then game 2, we'll have Luis Severino. So a short 2-game series before the Yankees will head to Boston, which should be a very fun 4-game series. It'll be the first series for the Yankees at Fenway Park all year. And so this road trip is about halfway done. It's not quite in games, but I guess, yeah, it's not quite halfway there. But like I said, 2 games at the Pirates. Hopefully the Yankees can win both those games and head into that Red Sox series feeling good. But the Yankees haven't played the Pirates in a while. Like I said, the Taillon return will be pretty interesting. The Yankees will see young prospect and now up to the majors, O'Neal Cruz, the shortstop. So I'm excited to see what he looks like. And then, like I said, I'm pumped for this Yankee Red Sox series with a Red Sox team that's playing pretty well lately. And so yeah. But the Yankees win the series against Cleveland and are now 58-22.